Hello, can I be heard? Just doing a
Hello?
check. Just checking.
There we go.
Good. We're all good.
We're all good.
Thank you, Reverend Annie. This
Hi.
is this is a Rizwan Pirzada who is getting emails.
Lovely to see you face to face.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, same here. Good to see you.
Thank you for all
Face-to-face.
of your emails and coordinating.
Yeah, you're welcome. This I've been doing for some time, and love to do that. It's unique concept. Unite us together. We learned so many things from each other. So I love it, every time. I've been doing that since 2004, these conferences.
Wow,
Yeah,
that's
so
marvelous.
I hosted, I was part of the team. About 150 events we have done it in different part of the city. Actually, at one time, we was doing every year in Kelowna until we did the 7 conferences in Kelowna. But lack of interest from there, and our strategy need to be changed. Uh, we we just didn't do it. Councillor Mohini Singh, she's coming to say welcome remarks on behalf of the city. She was very part of the active team. So then we started in Vernon 3 years ago, and was very successful in Vernon.
Huh.
Yeah, in Vernon we had a first conference we did in 2017. We had about 400 people.
Oh, that's marvelous.
Yeah, that's marvelous. And last year when we did that, we still had close to 300. So we was very happy that Vernon has much more interest to these kind of event. I hope next year when COVID will go away and we will able to host in Kelowna also, actual event, not virtual event.
Yes,
Yeah.
yeah. That's fascinating. I'm grateful that there was that kind of uptake in Vernon, and it'd be interesting to know why it wasn't the case in Kelowna.
Yeah, no, that was the reason actually. I know number of ministers and Sikh temples ministers and many other in Kelowna. I have very good relation there. It's just sometime you need to define again. Sometime we've been doing in one pattern, but when we change our pattern, it has changed attendance also. We made some modification to event, and after that, it's much bigger attendance than before. So probably next year, probably I was talking to a Latter-day Saint Church active member and their executive member also, Mr. Gordon Oliver. You know him.
Yes,
Yeah.
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 I sit on the hospital board with him.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. He is. So he was also asking, and we should start in Kelowna. Yeah.
That would be great.
So a few minutes ago, the high speaker was doing her
Hi,
PowerPoint presentation. Okay, we have Mr. Stephen Finkelson.
Finkelman. Yep,
Finkelman.
that's
Mr.
good.
Stephen
Hi,
Finkelman. Good to see you, Mr. Finkelman.
good. And you too. Stephen's my name. Are you Rizwan?
I'm Rizwan.
Oh, hi, Rizwan. Yeah, thank you. I corresponded with you. Yeah.
Email, yes, yeah. Well, things were going to be normal, then we will see each other.
Yes.
Yes, but in the meantime, the virtual events are the way to go until we find a peace from this COVID. So,
Gordon.
Stan is back again.
Everybody's getting their technology sorted.
Yeah, slowly. There are a number of people are waiting at the YouTube. I heard from my Zoom coordinator.
Oh, that's great.
People will start to log in after 5:55. Let's see how best we are in this event. Previous event we did in the name of the Prince George. We had about 298 altogether because not everyone stays a whole time in virtual event. People come and go. But
Yeah.
at the study, we had 130 people study that was staying in a Zoom link. So I hope we had very good response from the media. We had a TV interview in Vernon today. So I found folks there to give them interview. That including um, um, the Chief Byron Lewis, who is our moderator also. he gave it to interview them. I hope that also they have broadcasted at 5 o'clock news.
Nice.
So let's see. We are waiting anxiously for good number to see. Getting a message that we are ready to join on my cell phone. 7 minutes to go. Reverend, how long you are with this Anglican church in Kelowna? For how many years you are with them?
In Kelowna, I've been here. How long have I been here? Almost 6 years. I've been ordained for 10. So
Okay, ordained for 10 and with
Yeah.
them 6 years.
still
In-
fairly new to the valley.
Oh, okay. Well, 6 years is good enough time. we had
Depends if you ask.
yeah, we had some of the previous speaker was from Willow Park Church actually.
Oh, okay.
Lawrence East, Pastor Lawrence East, if you know.
I know of him. Yeah.
Yeah. Then another minister before him was Pastor Mike Peninga. If you heard about that, I think he's retired from their church,
Okay.
from Willow Park Church, but he's involved in other activities now.
Okay.
So then there are many other different speaker came and presented their faith. Yeah.
Nice. There are an amazing number of churches in Kelowna, so
Yeah, they are.
it's hard to know everybody.
Yeah. Yeah. Now the good thing about Kelowna is that you find a different faith. There are 2 Sikh temples.
Mhm.
There are a Buddhist temple. And there are actually a very good speaker, Deborah Pierce. She was involved with us. And in Summerland, we have a Hindu temple. So that gives us choice to have an interfaith dialogue.
It's awesome.
Yeah. Amazingly, in Vernon, other than Judaism, everyone is there. In small city in Vernon, from Buddhist speaker, Baha'i, many other. I was amazed, in Vernon, such a small city can have so many different faiths. Actually, there is also a mosque in Vernon. The nearby Latter-day Saint Church, very close to that. I've been traveling for a long time. I'm just introducing myself. We also host a conference in Whitehorse, Yukon.
Ah,
Yeah. So in past, we did host some event in Northwest Territory, in Inuvik and Yellowknife. But then it took over by the Calgary chapter, and they are hosting these events there now. It was too much for me to travel that far.
how many chapters are there?
Our chapters, how many are?
You said the Calgary chapter took it over.
Yeah, we have about 100 chapters
100
Canada-wide.
Oh,
Yeah, Calgary is one of the bigger chapter. Actually, it has the largest mosque of North America also. They have that mosque is very beautifully constructed. Many people go and see it nearby airport. It has a construction area, built area is 48,000 square feet.
Hmm.
So that's our largest mosque in Canada. Yeah. Then after that, there are other mosques are bigger also in Delta, in Brampton, in Maple, Ontario. All those are the bigger. So it's very beautiful mosque. If you ever go Calgary, let me know. You'd like to see that in the building, how it looks like. Yeah.
Rizwan, is that specifically mosques in your denomination of the
Yeah,
Ahmadiyya
my
group?
denomination, yes. So in Calgary, there's the largest mosque there, but other mosques are, which is about 34,000 to 40,000 are in Brampton, in Maple, Ontario, and Delta. They are the bigger. Rest of them are kind of relatively small.
Is the mosque in Vernon Ahmadiyya?
No,
No, I didn't think.
They're not.
Nor in Kelowna.
we have only a few members in Vernon. One of them also has a hotel there, but don't have a large congregation. We had a few families in Kelowna before, but they moved from there.
Mm.
Yeah. So we love to see they stay there, but they are just miss too much their community here, so they don't stay too long in it. But we have a community in Prince George. We have member in different cities now, but most likely they just main concentration is in Lower Mainland actually. So we have large members in Lower Mainland, and after that in Abbotsford. So I was very fascinated to see a temple. I never saw the temple in your synagogue in Kelowna. I went by so many times, but never went inside. It just always too many appointments. I just chasing those appointments, just short of time and too much to do.
Yeah, we have two Jewish communities in Kelowna.
Okay.
We work together on things of commonality.
Okay.
But if you're in town, just give me a call or whatever, or email me, and I'll take you to the building when it's safe. The building's closed now, but when it's safe.
Yeah. Now same here.
Yeah, for sure.
Because of the COVID, the buildings are virtually.
Yeah.
I mean, very rare operations are there. So we do have a mosque open here, but only because it's large enough, it can accommodate only 50 people right now, according to law.
Yeah.
So,
we know the Kelowna community, the Kelowna Islamic Society. We've had several programs together, and have had two prayer sessions actually together. They were in our synagogue for a prayer session about a year ago, and we do some volunteer projects at the food bank together. So it's a nice group.
Very nice.
Okay.
I just realized, Stephen Fickelman, that there are others are also joined with us. I see Mr. Gordon Oliver. I see Reverend Dale Jukes. Everstrom is still here, but camera is off. And Mr. Imam Umar Khan is there. And we have some missionaries are here from our community. So I see all those. So, and Mr. Mike Trudeau, Buddhist speaker, is also with us right now. So once we have moderator, and I see Councillor Mohani Singh also with us right now.
Oh yeah.
And I also see our missionary in charge Canada, Abdul Anwar Saab is also with us. 1 second.
Oh.
Hi, Chief. Send you to the Zoom link. Let me send you there. Yeah, you want me to? I'll text you on the cell phone so you can copy there. Okay. The moderator cannot find the link, so I have to help him out. 1 second.
Well, we can't start without him, so.
Yeah. Hi, Gordon.
Keep forgetting I'm
Once
mute.
the moderator comes on board, we will start the event. Just Sorry, Bob, my apologies. Just we're waiting for the moderator to join, and he's trying to log in right now.
The moderator has joined through iPhone, but he needs to unmute himself.
Okay, thank you. Chief, can you hear us?
No, he needs to unmute.
Yeah, I'll try to help him.
There we go.
Yes.
All right. My apologies, everyone.
No problem. Chief, can you join by Zoom? Otherwise, you won't be able to see the speakers.
Yeah, I'm just trying to get set up here. My apologies.
Yeah, no problem. We are waiting for you. Once you come on board, we will start the event.
Okay, am I on Zoom? Hello?
Yeah, are you on Zoom? I'm looking at.
Okay, can you see me? I think I'm on, I can see you on this.
Okay.
There
If
we
you can
go.
see me, then we can see you. Okay.
Yeah, thanks again. Here, I gotta, yeah.
We cannot see
Okay,
you.
there
Yeah,
we go.
we can see you now. Okay.
Yeah. Nice.
Okay. So we all
Hopefully I
good?
got-
We can start event now, Chief? Okay, we're going to start the event. I think the Chief is on board right now, and we should start now. So thank you very much, all of you, to help us to promote interfaith dialogue. It's always a pleasure to host the event. Due to COVID, we are unable to do a physical event, but we are still kind of blessed, I'll say that, able to see you through the Zoom link, as we all are doing at this moment. So without further ado, we are already about 5 minutes late right now. It's our tradition of our community to start the event with the blessing ceremony. I will request our youth leader, Naveed Mirza, to please recite the portion of the Holy Quran.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Peace and blessings of Allah be upon all of us. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين. الرحمن الرحيم. مالك يوم الدين. إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين. اهدنا الصراط المستقيم. صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين. Translations of the verses recited before you. I seek refuge from Satan the cursed. In the name of Allah, the gracious, the merciful. All praise belongs to Allah, Lord of all the worlds, the gracious, the merciful, Master of the day of judgment. Thee alone do we worship, and Thee alone do we implore for help. Guide us in the right path, the path of those on whom Thou hast bestowed Thy blessings, those who have not incurred Thy displeasure, and those who have not gone astray. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Naveed. It's my honor to welcome Imam Abdul Rashid Anwar, serving as the missionary in charge Canada, whom I know for a number of years. Very kind and cooperative, and always encouraged to promote interfaith dialogue. Happens to know multiple languages. I believe in French and English he is fluent, and then other languages also, including our own language, Urdu Punjabi. So it's my honor to welcome our missionary in charge, Imam Abdul Rashid Anwar, to please say a few words as a welcome remark.
In the name of Allah, the gracious, the most merciful, I bear witness that there is none worthy of worship besides Allah, the only one who has no partner. And I testify that our Master Muhammad is his servant and his messenger, whom he has sent with the true religion and guidance. As far as the introduction of our community is concerned, the Ahmadiyya Muslim community are Muslims who believe in the Messiah, Mirza Ghulam Ahmad, peace be upon him, of Qadian. He was born in 1835 and passed away in 1908. Mirza Ghulam Ahmad founded the Ahmadiyya Muslim community in 1889 as a revival movement within Islam, emphasizing its essential teachings of peace, love, justice, and sanctity of life. Today, the Ahmadiyya Muslim community is the world's largest Islamic community under one divinely appointed leader. His Holiness Mirza Masroor Ahmad, he was born in 1950. The Ahmadiyya Muslim community spans over 200 nations with membership exceeding tens of millions. Mirza Ghulam Ahmad claimed to be metaphorical second coming of Jesus Christ and the Mahdi, whose advent Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, peace and blessing of Allah be upon him, foretold. The Ahmadiyya Muslim community believes that God sent Mirza Ghulam Ahmad to end religious wars, condemn bloodshed, and restore morality, justice, and peace. He reformed Muslims of fanatical beliefs and practices by vigorously championing Islam's true teaching. He also recognized the noble teachings of the great religious founders and saints, including Zoroaster, Abraham, Moses, Jesus, Krishna, Buddha, Confucius, Lao Tzu, and Guru Nanak, and explained how their original teachings converge into Islam. The Ahmadiyya Muslim community is the leading Islamic organization to categorically reject terrorism. Over a century ago, Mirza Ghulam Ahmad emphatically declared that the jihad by sword has no place in Islam. He instead taught Muslims to follow the Quran and Prophet Muhammad's example and defend Islam with a bloodless intellectual jihad of the pen. Accordingly, Mirza Ghulam Ahmad penned over 80 books and tens of thousands of letters, delivered hundreds of lectures, and engaged in scores of public debates. The Ahmadiyya Muslim community continues to use education to peacefully reform Muslims and revive Islam worldwide. This is the reason we are here together to discuss all things peacefully. Mirza Ghulam Ahmad reminded Muslims of God's promise to safeguard Islam through Khilafat, the spiritual institution of successorship to prophethood. The Ahmadiyya Muslim community believes that only Islamic Khilafat can peacefully unite humanity. 5 Khulafas have succeeded Mirza Ghulam Ahmad since his demise. The current Khalifa Mirza Masroor Ahmad resides in the United Kingdom and serves the community's spiritual and administrative head. Under the leadership of Khilafat, the Ahmadiyya Muslim community has built over 16,000 mosques, 600 schools, and 30 hospitals. It has translated the Holy Quran into over 70 languages. The Ahmadiyya Muslim community propagates Islam's true teaching of peace and tolerance. Through a 24 satellite television channel called MTA, the internet, alislam.org, and print Islam International publications. It stands at the forefront of disaster relief worldwide through Humanity First, a non-profit charity. The Ahmadiyya Muslim community is the only Islamic organization to endorse the separation of mosque and state. To finish with the brief introduction, I would say that despite facing bitter faith-based persecution in numerous Muslim majority nations, the Ahmadiyya Muslim community continues to advocate for universal human rights for all religious and other persecuted minorities. It likewise invests heavily in women's equality, education, and empowerment programs. Its members are among the most law-abiding, educated, and engaged Muslims in the world. So this is the brief introduction of Jama'at Ahmadiyya, which believes in dialogue, and you will see that we believe in that aspect, that all persons can be convinced through the reason, through the arguments, and through the intellectual dialogue. So for that reason, we are here today, and I hope this our conference will bear fruits, and we will try to understand each other and try to present our beautiful.
Thank you very much.
Okay, thank
Imam.
you.
Thank you very much. Jazakumullah.
Thank you very much. Now next, our speaker is Councillor Mohini Singh. I know her for a number of years, and very kind, very cooperative. I have so many good words to say about her and their family. I've been known to them and being a part of their family for last 10 years. So I'm delighted to welcome Councillor Mohini Singh to say welcome remarks on behalf of the city.
Thank you very much, Rizwan Bhaijan. I've known you almost 20 years, before you even had gray hair. I'm very honored to be part and to be taking part in this event. And I'm very honored that the Ahmadiyya community invites me every year to partake. And before I was a counselor, I used to be a reporter on television. And the philosophy and the approach that you take, it struck such a chord with me that we at the station, I would always lobby to get publicity so the whole community knew about your values and what you do for the greater good of Canada. Honestly, these days, in this day and age, especially in the world, the way things are today, we need your philosophical approach of inclusion and of betterment for all humanity. We all are equal, and whoever we worship our our sayings are very similar. Our philosophy would be we take different paths. Our end goals are very similar. And at the end of the day, all we want is goodness, happiness, truth, and honesty. So thank you again for including me. And on behalf of the city of Kelowna, I'd like to say thank you for what you do. And I hope you'll continue to include us in these dialogues. I just want to say a quick hello to Chief Louis. We haven't seen you in a long time, Chief. And to Stephen Flinkelman, you either. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Councillor Mohini. Chief, you want to say something?
Just briefly, my apologies for having a little technical difficulties in getting online, but on behalf of the Okanagan Band and behalf of our Sea Peoples in the Okanagan, I'd like to welcome everyone to the third World Religions Conference, and I'm very happy to be being the moderator. So with that,
thank you very much. So, Chief, we're going to just do a short introduction of our events, why we do that, and also we'll introduce you as a moderator. So for that, I request a respected regional president of Ahmadiyya Muslim Community, British Columbia, Mr. Naeem Lakhan, who I'm known for a number of years. We travel together, even to Alaska, and encouraged to host interfaith dialogue. So we go a long way together, promoting a unity, brotherhood, and love that we promote, love for all, hatred for none. So I request Regional President, Mr. Naeem Lakhan, to do introductory remarks and introduction to a moderator. Then Chief, it's all yours. You have 8 panel speakers, and we are giving 8 minutes to everyone, and that is a challenge. So let's see how we do that. I request now Mr. Naeem Lakhan to do introductory remarks and moderator introduction. And thank you, Councillor Mohini, for your beautiful words.
Thank you, Rizwan Sahib. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. In the name of Allah, the gracious, the merciful. Assalamu alaikum. May peace be on all of you. Dear brothers and sisters, we are very fortunate that we live in a country and a society where different faiths can share the same podium to present their own point of view. This is so beautiful. And I welcome all of you on behalf of Ahmadiyya Muslim Community of British Columbia. Tonight's event is a continuation of more than a century-old tradition and initiative which was taken by the founder of the Ahmadiyya Muslim Community, Hazrat Mirza Ghulam Ahmad. In 1895, he invited the representative of all the major faiths for a similar interfaith dialogue in his hometown of Qadian in India. So this event, as already explained, is for interfaith dialogue. We do not get this chance quite often to hear and listen different faiths from their own sources. We can read things, we can follow media and other things, but this is a unique opportunity that we can have a different faiths perspective from their own representatives and from their own point of view. So thank you very much for your time and effort for attending tonight's event, which is the 3rd annual event. And my next job is to introduce tonight's event's moderator, Chief Byron Louis. Chief Byron Louis has over 26 years of knowledge and experience at various levels of political spectrum. Wow, that's a long career. First as a duly elected councillor, then as a title and title and rights advisor at the tribal council and regional level, political liaison designate with US band, tribal, public and private utilities, and state and federal authorities. Over the course of his long career, he has served in various facets of political office concerning natural resource management, community-based economic development initiatives, public works, community planning, and many more. Chief Warren Louis being re-elected as the head of the Okanagan Indian Band. This will be his fourth two-year term in the role of Chief of Okanagan First Nations. I welcome Chief Warren Louis, and I request him to please moderate tonight's event. Please.
Thank you. And thanks, everyone. It's an honor to be able to speak at this conference and the topic on religion in adversity, help, or hindrance. And I guess one of the first things we'll go through is speakers are requested to consider the following guidelines. Each speaker is requested to observe 8 to 10 minutes per time limit. Speakers are requested to speak on a topic of their religious perspectives, philosophical and religious traditions, and holy books. Speakers are requested not to make any comparisons with other faiths and only speak with reference to their own faith. And speakers are requested to be present during the entire conference and be able to, for the question answer period at the end. And we have, let's see, please, one question card for question and answer will be, okay, this is something else. So anyway, I guess we could get started and then we can actually hear from the Baha'i perspective, and that is Miss Eva Strom. Eva Strom grew up in Winnipeg and obtained a Bachelor of Arts degree at the University of Manitoba. Seeking to find herself, she moved to BC over 40 years ago. At first, she explored the question, what is happiness? And how and where I can find it. Eventually, she found the beautiful and everlasting garden of the Baha'i faith. It just makes a perfect sense. It just makes perfect sense to me, she says. Spiritual and practical, it is immense value for humanity at this time in history. As Baha'i, Eva has served on regional educational committees and as a children's class teacher and as an animator for the junior youth spiritual empowerment program and on the local administrative council for over 20 years. Retired from a career as an employment counselor, Eva dedicates much of her time to Baha'i excuse me if I say this wrong, Baha'i Ulma's vision of a united and peaceful world by hosting world peace conversations, world peace prayers, and being involved in devotional gatherings and study circles and other personal and community development activities. So we'll hear from Eva, and again, my apologies for mispronunciation of any of the words.
No worries, Byron. It takes a little while. And thank you very much for the introduction. I am going to screen share now. And can everybody see that? Somebody say yes, please.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, great. So religion in times of adversity, help or hindrance, the Baha'i perspective is a strong yes. It's a big help. Baha'u'llah tells us to consort with followers of all religions in a spirit of friendliness and fellowship. And that's why I'm here. And doesn't she look happy? Yes, and I'm happy too. So before I tell you about a couple of reasons why the Baha'i faith is a very big help, I'm sharing a couple of main points about the Baha'i faith. And the first one is that we, all of us, derive our inspiration from one heavenly source and are the subjects of one God. A second main teaching of Baha'u'llah is that we are one family, one human family. Ye are the fruits of one tree and the leaves of one branch. He gives us a lot of beautiful images such as flowers of one garden, stars of one heaven, waves of one sea. All beautiful images to explain the oneness of humanity. And the third point is that there is only one gradually unfolding religion, like different chapters in a book. This is the changeless faith of God, eternal in the past, eternal in the future. The Baha'i faith began in 1844 when the Bab, which means the gate in Arabic, declared his mission, the establishment of a new independent religion and a renewal of past religions. The Bab, as the herald of the Baha'i faith and the forerunner of Baha'u'llah, prepared the way for Baha'u'llah's announcement in 1863 that he was the promised one of all ages, the divine educator or manifestation of God for today. Baha'u'llah means the glory of God in Arabic. Because Baha'u'llah was exiled by the Persian and then the Ottoman authorities, he ended up in the Haifa, Akka area in what is now Israel. And that is why the Baha'i World Center is there. Baha'u'llah was followed by his eldest son, Abdul Baha, as the authorized interpreter and the perfect example of his teachings. Between these three figures, the Bab, Baha'u'llah, and Abdul Baha, we have thousands and thousands of books, tablets, prayers, exhortations, guidance, explanations, encouragement, and everything needed to live a joyful and spiritually fulfilled life. A portion has been translated into English, as well as to over 800 other languages. If you prefer hard copy books to reading online, we have a well-stocked Baha'i library and a very willing librarian to help you. Please contact me. Wouldn't you like to know about the divine plan for today? And it doesn't stop there. Today, we also have the Universal House of Justice, the democratic elected 9-member council and governing body established by Baha'u'llah. Since 1963, it has been constantly providing timely guidance and encouragement. So when we ask the question, religion and adversity, help or hindrance, we answer with the utmost confidence. Yes, it's a big help. Because there are quite a number of different ways that the Baha'i faith is a help to people who follow its guidance and are learning to live the spiritual life it prescribes, today I would just focus on 2. Otherwise, we'd be here all night. The first one is the power of prayer. We have many, many kinds of prayer books available. We have 2 of those, The Wings of Prayer and The Ocean of Healing, to give away if you would like a copy. There's a few choices of the Baha'i prayer app as well for your phone or iPad. It's free, of course. In the noonday prayer, we have this: there is none other God but thee, the help in peril, the self-subsisting. When I queried help in peril in the Baha'i Reference Library, it showed up 171 times. In another one of our favorite books, prayers, the Tablet of Ahmad, we read this: should one who is in affliction or grief read this tablet with absolute sincerity, God will dispel his sadness, solve his difficulties, and remove his afflictions. Bob also gave us many prayers. Is there any remover of difficulties save God? Thus, we have hundreds of prayers reminding us that God, our creator, our helper, our help in peril, the source of all, the all-merciful, the all-compassionate, and many, many other such descriptions. We host a devotional gathering called Turning to the Light on Zoom, and you are all warmly invited to join us. We usually use a short compilation on various topics. Just now, we are focusing on steadfastness during difficult times. We also share some interfaith prayers for world peace. The second reason I want to mention about the Baha'i faith being a huge help is that it talks about spiritual joy. We are constantly being reminded to turn to the spiritual world. All the sorrow and the grief that exist come from the world of matter. The spiritual world bestows only joy. Today, humanity is bowed down with trouble, sorrow, and grief. No one escapes. But thank God, the remedy is at our doors. Let us turn our hearts away from the world of matter and live in the spiritual world. It alone can give us freedom. Third one, if material anxiety envelops you in a dark cloud, spiritual radiance lightens your path. All of those quotes come from Abdul Baha in a book called Paris Talks. Second last, I would also like to warmly invite you to join us for a study circle based on the Ruhi Institute. Ruhi Institute has developed a community building activity which is used worldwide and is based on grassroots initiatives where people are learning to explore ways to improve their material and their spiritual lives. In book one, it introduces the life of the spirit in 3 sections: living the life, prayer, and the soul. Last but not least, our contact information. The official Baha'i website, baha'i.org, Baha'is of Vernon, all one word, Baha'is of Vernon BC @gmail.com, all one word, and my phone number, 250-550-6761. Thank you again, everyone, for organizing this and for everybody for participating. It's wonderful that you're here, and I want to thank you very much. It's been a pleasure.
Thank you. And we have the next speaker, and I'm not sure if there's a question period, but anyone can jump in and correct me if I'm wrong. But anyway, the next speaker is on a Christianity perspective, and this is Reverend Ann Previtt, Anglican Church. Reverend Ann Previtt is a priest for the St. Andrew's Anglican Church in Kelowna. Over the last 10 years, Ann has been privileged to work with a wide range of churches from downtown Toronto to Kingfisher Lake First Nation. Now in Kelowna, she enjoys her role on the Ecumenical Spiritual Advisory Board for the Kelowna General Hospital, kayaking and hiking, and holds a BA in English Literature of the University of, looks like, Alberta, and a Master's of Divinity at the University of Toronto. Okay, we can hear from Ann. Thank you.
Thank you. Chief Louis, my fellow speakers, all the organizers, and everyone gathered here online, it is an honor to be with you and to learn from each other and to be in the online company of people who want to listen and to think and to learn together during these COVID times. As has already been said, my name is Anne. I am an Anglican priest, and I currently serve St. Andrew's Anglican Church in Kelowna. In brief introduction to my tradition, Anglicanism is a branch of Christianity that has its roots in the early Celtic Christianity of the British Isles. It came into formal political existence with Henry VIII, and please don't believe everything the Netflix series tells you. And we are now a worldwide communion that is a community of Anglicans across cultures and languages who choose to be together rather than being legislated to be together. Anglicans are known as the Via Media, or the middle way between Roman Catholicism and Protestantism. And our faith walks this middle road in the constant company of the ongoing dialogue between scripture, reason, which includes science, and church tradition. We do not produce confessional documents that outline exactly what we believe, but rather Anglicans write common prayer books, which are shared across the world, and ecumenical statements, how we understand ourselves in relationship to other faiths. And so Anglicans do our theology through our worship and then through our relationships with our neighbors. So religion in adversity, help or hindrance? This is a really important question and also one that I found really frustrating. The short answer is yes. We can all think of instances when religion has been lived in such a way that it is a hindrance or is the very cause of adversity, Christianity being one of the prime examples over the centuries. And we can also think of times when religions of many types have been lived as a force for great good. Now, the Anglican in me really wants to find a middle way. And if not that, at least a wider space in which to have this conversation. Because I do believe there's more for us as people of faith than being either helpful or unhelpful in times of adversity. One of the most powerful things faith can do is offer a bigger picture of what is possible for the world, call us out beyond our limited imaginations. One of the most powerful things faith can do when it's humbly embodied is call us out beyond the boundaries of ourselves, beyond our own fears and angers, and call us out with arms open towards our neighbors. One of the most powerful things that faith can do in the midst of adversity is teach us how to hope. As we head into the second wave of the pandemic here in BC, there's a lot of talk about hope. And it makes me think of Archbishop Desmond Tutu, who is an Anglican archbishop and was the chair of the Truth and Reconciliation work in South Africa. He tells the story of a young man who had been blinded by the police in his township, and he came one day to tell his truth. When he finished, one of the TRC panelists asked him, "How do you feel?" A broad smile broke over his face, and even though he was still blind, he said, "You have given me back my eyes." Hope is the ability to live no matter what happens with a different kind of sight. And so for Christians, from the perspective that I am representing, this different kind of sight is the call to live in two worlds at once, to live in the midst of our world exactly as it is, while holding on to God's dream for the world. The clincher being that every time they don't match up, we must choose to love. We become God's partners in the work God is doing in the world by holding this tension and choosing love. We believe that the self-giving love of God made known to us in the life, death, and resurrection of Jesus Christ will one day become the heart of all that is. We believe that one day every relationship in the great web of interconnections between peoples, the environments, and within our very selves will be healed so that self-giving love will be all that is. We believe God is working this slowly and steadily within our world. And in my tradition, we call this hope the kingdom of God or the new creation. As people of hope, our job is to live within two worlds at once, with God's dream for us and in the midst of the reality of how things are, holding that tension in order to love others, be them our friends or our enemies. And we see God's hope for the world. We get glimpses of what is possible for us as human community in each act of mercy, forgiveness, love, each time we uphold the dignity of every human being and the environment in which we live, each time we choose justice and to work for peace. In our scriptures, there is something called the Beatitudes, which gives us a description of the ways of living through which God's dream will be most easily seen. It is in those who make peace, those who mourn over injustice, those who are poor, those who are humble, those who hunger and thirst for righteousness. There is another way to live. Humanity is called to a deep beauty and goodness together with all living things, and holding this hope is even more necessary in times of adversity. There are so many things left to be said and explored in this topic, but I hope to leave us this evening with the big idea that in times of adversity, religion has the potential to be more than a help or hindrance. Religion can be an example of how to live in hope, how to hold the tension between what is and what will be, offering us a vision for the world beyond our own fears and our own imaginings. Thank you.
Chief, you are muted. We cannot hear you.
My apologies. The next speaker is presenting Islam perspective, and this is Imam Amir Khan. And Amir Khan was raised in Toronto and New York, and as a child had spent his adolescence in Calgary. After graduating from high school in Calgary, he attended Jama'at Ahmadiyya missionary training school in the community of Ontario, which is a 7-year program. He graduated from Jama'at Ahmadiyya in 2012 and then was given the opportunity to serve as a trainee missionary in Sierra Leone, West Africa. He served as an imam and missionary for the Ahmadiyya Muslim community in Calgary branch of the Batun Noor Mosque from 2013 to 2015. And for the last 4 years, he was serving as Ahmadiyya Muslim community, Jamaica, West Indies, in the capacity of a missionary in charge. He was recently appointed to serve the British Columbia chapters and community based around Batur Rahman Mosque in Delta and in Surrey, BC. He is currently living in Delta with his family, wife, and 2 children. Thank you, Amma.
Assalamu alaikum. Peace be upon everybody. Is my voice okay?
Yes.
Yeah, okay. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. In the name of Allah, the Gracious, the Merciful. I wanted to thank all the organizers for inviting me. I have to admit, I got a little nervous when the program started. I didn't know the missionary in charge of our community was going to be on, so he's my boss in Canada. So, but happy to see him here. So I'm going to start off. I hope you could see my screen. And a very interesting topic that has been spoken of to me, that we'll be talking about today. Just a quick introduction. We're from the Ahmadiyya Muslim community. For those who may not know, the founder of our community, whose picture is on the left, we believe to be the promised Messiah. And after his death, the people that you see on the right side are the spiritual leaders that leaded the community after his demise. And the Hazrat Mirza Masroor Ahmad, our current caliph or spiritual leader, is on the far right, who is currently in the UK. Now with that, I will start my talk on this topic. So traditionally, the founder of our community, the Ahmadiyya Muslim community, when these types of conferences would happen, he was big on trying to present on the topic according to your scripture. So I will try my best to stick with what the Holy Quran teaches on this topic. And realizing I have it's a short amount of time, I won't be able to go into too much detail, but I'll highlight some of the teachings about how religion is definitely a source of help during times of adversity. I'm going to start off with this verse that you see in front of you from chapter 16, verse 128 of the Holy Quran. Allah says, "Wasbir wa ma sabruka illa billah," and endure thou with patience, and verily thy patience is possible only with the help of Allah. So this verse makes it clear that yes, difficult times will come, but one of the secret ingredients to overcome those difficult times or adversity is patience. But one other thing that it adds is that patience itself is also not an easy thing to be able to compose yourself in times of difficulty. And in this verse of the Quran, God is bringing our attention that it's also through God's grace and help that he gives strength to people with patience to get over times of adversity. So you see that definitely religion from an Islamic perspective is very helpful during times of adversity. These are other verses that is really I really love these verses from the Quran. Ya ayyuhallazina amanu ista'inu bis-sabri was-salah, inna Allaha ma'as sabirin. Chapter 2, verse 154 of the Holy Quran. O ye who believe, seek help with patience and prayer. Surely Allah is with the steadfast. So in this verse, God is, conveying this message to the believers that, times of difficulty will come. But one of the two main ingredients or two, solutions for getting over adversity is through patience and prayer. And they're, intertwined, they're connected, both go hand in hand, patience and prayer. And then the Quran does give us a heads up that, the way life is, it's natural that we will go through times of adversity, trials, and tribulations. And God says, and we will try you with something of fear and hunger and loss of wealth and lives and fruits, but give glad tidings to the patient. So the Holy Quran is giving a heads up to Muslims that, hey, look, life is no walk in the park. It's, difficulties will come upon people in different ways, in different manners. And as we all see right now, how difficult, the pandemic is on a lot of people. People are losing their lives. They're losing their jobs. The economy is down. A lot of people are worried to the extent that, even right now, the World Health Organization is saying over 200 million people are suffering from depression. Recently, there was an article by a professor at Copenhagen University in Denmark, and her research found that right now, the word prayer is skyrocketing as a search on Google. So you see that during times of adversity, it's a natural inclination for people to look for, that help from, a divine being. Now, what does the Holy Quran say is to, when we're going through anxiety and depression and worries, what solution does the Quran give? The Quran teaches in chapter 13, verse 29, Allah bi zikrillahi tatma'innul qulub, which means that it is in the remembrance of Allah that hearts can find comfort. So the Quran is teaching that, yes, difficulties will come, trials will come, loved ones will pass, you may lose your job, trials will come. But to endure that, remember God through patience, through prayers, through praise and worship, and that will, bless your hearts with tranquility and help you get over those times of difficulties and trials. And also this verse also refers to the same, concept, is that those who say, our Lord is Allah, and then remain steadfast, the angels descend on them saying, fear ye not, nor grieve. So this is a very common teaching in the Holy Quran, the motivation for patience during difficult times. Now, another very amazing teaching the Holy Quran gives is that it's a natural divine law that we learn from the Quran. فَإِنَّ مَعَ الْأُسْرِ يُسْرًا, which means that surely there is ease after hardship. So the Quran gives this good news that yes, difficulties will come, but remember, God is very merciful. He is gracious, that eventually those times will pass. So just, bear with it with patience, and God willing, a time will come where you will overcome that difficulty, and times of, better days will come, and times of ease will come. And those people that are able to get over these adversities and difficulties, the Quran also gives us very good news for those people who pass that test. The Quran teaches that who, when a misfortune overtakes them, say, surely to Allah we belong, and to Him shall we return. So the philosophy the Quran is teaching in this verse is that ultimately we all belong to God, our friends, our relatives, our parents, our children. Eventually a time may come that what belongs ultimately to God, He will ask for it back. He will take it back. And that's why Muslims are taught this prayer, that surely to Allah we belong, and to Him shall we return. So for example, if He does take the life of somebody, we're in no position to get mad or upset with God, because what belonged to Him, He eventually took back, and we all have to go back to Him. But then in the next verse, God says that it is these on whom are blessings from their Lord and mercy, and it is these who are rightly guided. So those people who can get through these, difficult times of adversity, God gives them that glad tidings, the good news, that those are the people who are capable, are able to move to higher spiritual levels of piety and righteousness, because in the face of fear and grief and difficulties, they were able to overcome. All right, I'm kind of surprised I got to the last slide. I usually always time. One thing I did want to leave with everybody is that I want to ask everybody a huge favor. Those of you who are watching this on your screen, I would love if you could take your smartphones out and just put it over the QR code. And I am eager to share this book called Philosophy of the Teachings of Islam, which was written by the founder of the Ahmadiyya Muslim community. And for those who really want to understand in depth the philosophical teachings behind the religion of Islam, I would highly recommend this book. Another good thing about this code is that there's a little, fill-in thing that if anybody has any questions or you want any more information, you're welcome to fill it out. I'll receive it. I will definitely give you, contact. I will reply to any questions or feedback you may have. Again, thank you for giving me this opportunity. Assalamu alaikum, peace be upon everybody.
Thank you. And we will move on to the next speaker. And this is a representative of the Jewish faith perspective, Mr. Steve Finkelman. Stephen Finkelman has been in Kelowna for almost 40 years and is a member of the local Okanagan Jewish community for that period of time. He serves currently as the president of the organization and enjoys organizing events and meetings to our community, but also loves to participate in the various community and interfaith events representing our community's perspective and various Kelowna civic events. So, Mr. Stephen Finkelman.
Hi, thank you very much to all. I think that you can hear me okay. Anyways, thank you also to Rizwan. He was my contact at the Ahmadiyya Muslim community. Thank you for all for organizing this and for inviting me as representative of the Jewish community. I just want to point out that I am the president of my organization. I am not a clergyman. I'm not a rabbi, so my thoughts are perhaps a little bit more secular, you might say. As I put together this talk and reviewed the topic, I questioned whether it was asking if religion was a help or hindrance at the time of the COVID adversity, or if indeed COVID was a help or hindrance to religion. And I think the answer is that it's helpful in both respects, meaning that religion is a help to people at this difficult time of COVID, and that COVID is actually helpful to the faith communities to actually draw people together. At the Okanagan Jewish community, we were quite concerned as we switched to a virtual program in the spring of 2020 with regards to how responsive our membership would be. We were worried that our membership campaign, which we do in the summer and early fall, would falter because the person's not being attracted to the virtual platform and the lack of usual socialization, which often focuses around food in our community. We were also concerned that our regular Sabbath services, our special Passover Seder, and our recent high holidays in September would not have the same spirit as an actual live get-together. We ended up being surprised, actually, on all counts. Membership and attendance almost increased on the virtual platform. And I believe that this has been noted by other faith communities also, whether Jewish or non-Jewish. The feeling of social isolation during the pandemic clearly had something to do with it. People were lonely and remain lonely and enjoyed being together even over the computer with the communities and people that they know. For others, it may even be the fear of illness or death that has brought people closer or close to the community. Clearly, we have always noted that at times of terminal illness and death, people often become quite close to the community, even though when they were healthier or younger, they weren't particularly active in our community. I also think that the Jewish community perhaps is a little bit different than other faith communities. Besides the religious features or prayer aspects of the community, there's always been a very significant element of culture, traditions, food, language, homeland that plays a very important role in our community affairs. And for some people, may even outweigh the strictly religious aspects or the strictly prayer aspects of our group. I have attended this conference as a member of the public the last 2 years in Vernon. I at times was somewhat disappointed for the following reason. Each of the groups stressed the concept and principles of their faith group, and almost every single speaker stressed the importance of brotherhood and love. I must admit that I left last year's conference at halftime, saying to myself, if everyone is so much into brotherhood and love, why is there so much conflict in the world today? It almost seemed to me contradictory that everyone was talking about brotherhood and love, but the status of the world actually didn't seem to support the discussion. I have resolved this matter in this way. I think that changing the world is an individual's responsibility and not really under the control of organized religion. We are keenly aware that in all of our faith communities, there are good people and there are bad people. There are those who interpret and follow properly the teachings of their faith and those who ignore the teachings. The responsibility, therefore, lies with more the individual and not with the faith group itself, which may contain millions or perhaps billions of followers. This concept of the importance of the individual, often comes up in Jewish thought. From the Talmud, there's a line that says, "He who saves one life, it is though he has saved mankind." I'm just going to try to share my screen. It's not quite as nifty as some of you guys. But if I share that, I can point out this is what is called a Yad Vashem memorial. This was metal. This was actually given out by the authority in Israel to keep the memory of the Holocaust alive. And this medal was given to those righteous Gentiles who saved a person's life during the Holocaust. It's written in French, being the diplomatic language. It said the Jewish people recognize that whoever saves one life saves the universe altogether, saves the complete universe. I've also noted that this phrase also seems to be picked up by others. Again, whoever saves life of one person, it is as if he has saved the entire humanity. And I can see apparently that that's a quote from the Quran. I like to think that the only principle that really is of importance is found in the Torah in Leviticus 19:18, chapter 19, verse 18, where it states, "Love your neighbor as you love yourself." Many of us still need to work on this principle. And again, to share a little bit, the sharing is here in the original Leviticus chapter 19, verse 18, "You shall love your neighbor as yourself." In Hebrew, it says, "V'ahavta l'reacha kamocha." Now, if you read 18, it says, "You shall neither take revenge from nor bear a grudge against members of your people. You shall love your neighbor as yourself." There was some discussion by the sages whether that means you should love just your own peoples or you should love everyone. And if you follow further down in Leviticus chapter 19, verse 34, "The stranger who sojourns with you shall be as a native from among you, and you shall love him as yourself, for you were a stranger in the land of Egypt." And it says in the Hebrew, "V'ahavta lo," you will love him as yourself. So this is felt to be discussion that loving your neighbor means all persons, all faiths, all cultures, all religions. I have about 1 minute left because I did prepare for 10 minutes. This line, actually, "You should love your neighbor as yourself," has also been adopted by other faiths, and I believe is found in Christian chapters of Mark and Matthew. Do a good deed for a fellow human being, occasionally at least. In Judaism, we say do a mitzvah. A mitzvah means to do a good deed, particularly to help another human being. This line in the Torah is very similar to the Golden Rule. And indeed it is felt, and again, I'm screen sharing, it's felt that the love your neighbor as yourself merged into the Golden Rule. which you can see there on that screenshot. And also further information, which is right there. This is a very interesting, again, talking about the Golden Rule, talking about some of the sages 2,000 years ago, that someone came up to a sage and said, convert me on the condition that you teach me the entire Torah as I stand on one leg. The sage Hillel converted him, and he said to him over a couple of seconds while the Gentile was standing on one leg, what is hateful to you, do not do to your fellow. This is the whole entire Torah. The rest is merely explanation. So finishing up, be aware that therefore a very observant person who follows the rules of his faith does not automatically qualify as a good person just because he's memorized all the prayers or studies 25 hours a day. Similarly, a very secular person who has no knowledge of religious teaching can indeed qualify as what we would call a tzaddik, or roughly translated as a saint, if he fulfills the dictum on a regular basis. Final paragraph, getting back to the reference to the COVID pandemic, as Bonnie Henry says, be safe, be kind. Simple things like wearing a mask shows your kindness and concern for the well-being of your neighbor. Wearing a mask shows that you love your neighbor as much as you love yourself. In making reference to this passage from Leviticus, some of our sages have commented on its importance and gone as far to say that the rest of the Torah is merely commentary. In summary, religious teachings need to be put into individuals' daily actions in order to heal the world, which we call tikkun olam. Thank you very much for hearing me. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, we'll go to the Christianity perspective, the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, Mr. Gordon H. Oliver. Gordon H. Oliver was born and raised in Lethbridge, Alberta, where he graduated from high school. He has been married to Deanne for 40 years, and they are parents of 6 children and 16 grandchildren. Gordon graduated from Brigham Young University with a Bachelor's of Science, and then obtained a Master's of Business Administration, and has been an executive with the Bank of Montreal, then founded and operated a number of businesses, and is currently providing financial consulting services to major corporations. He has served in numerous callings within the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, including as a member of the stake presidency, high councils, bishop, and number of service posts. Gordon is a member of the Interior Health Interfaith Spiritual Care Advisory Group at Kelowna General Hospital, and enjoys serving with members of many faiths in a cooperative, respectful group. He also assists in the annual BC Thanksgiving food drive for the food banks each September as Director of Communications, and helps with largest food drive in British Columbia. Okay, thank you. And we'll hear from Gordon H. Oliver.
Thank you, Chief Louis. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Good. Thank you also to Rizwan and to the Ahmadiyya Muslim Jama'at for having me say a few words in this conference. Let me say that over the past 3 years, I've thoroughly enjoyed my association with this group and come away learning and being better for my association with each of you. I am a lay member of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, and as such, my words are my own and reflect my understanding. I do not purport to speak on behalf of the Church. Now, let me explain why we believe that religious faith is important in times of adversity. In the Gospel of Mark, we read that Jesus began again to teach by the seaside, and there was gathered unto him a great multitude. The crowd became so numerous that Jesus entered into a ship and spoke from its deck. All day long he taught the people in parables as they sat on the shore. And when the evening was come, he said to his disciples, "Let us pass over unto the other side." And when they had sent away the multitude, they departed from the shore, and they're on their way across the Sea of Galilee, Finding a spot at the back of the ship, Jesus laid down and quickly fell asleep. Soon there arose a great storm of wind, and the waves beat into the ship so that it was nearly full of water. Many of Jesus's disciples were experienced fishermen and knew how to handle a boat in a storm. They were his trusted, beloved disciples. They had left jobs, personal interests, and family to follow Jesus. Their faith in him was evident by their presence in the boat. And now their boat was in the middle of a tempest on the very verge of sinking. We don't know how long they battled to keep the boat afloat in the storm, but they awoke Jesus with a bit of panic in their voices, saying, "Master, carest thou not that we perish? Lord, save us, we perish." They called him Master, and that he is. He is also Jesus Christ, the Son of God, the Father of heaven and earth, the creator of all things from the beginning. From his position in the boat, Jesus arose and rebuked the wind and said unto the raging sea, "Peace, be still." And the wind did cease, and there was a great calm. Ever the master teacher, Jesus then taught his disciples through two simple yet loving questions. He asked, "Why are ye so fearful? Where is your faith?" There is a mortal tendency when we find ourselves in the middle of trials, troubles, or afflictions to cry out, "Master, carest thou not that I perish? Save me." Even one of the Lord's prophets pleaded from an awful prison, "O God, where art thou? And where is the pavilion that covereth thy hiding place?" Certainly the Savior of the world understands our mortal limitations, for he teaches us how to feel peace and calm, even when the winds blow fiercely around us and billowing waves threaten to sink all of our hopes. Jesus invites, saying, "Come unto me, believe on my name, learn of me, and listen to my words." He tenderly commands, "Repent and be baptized in my name. Love one another as I have loved you, and always remember me." Jesus reassures, explaining, "These things I have spoken unto you, that in me ye might have peace. In the world ye shall have tribulation, but be of good cheer, I have overcome the world." Now I can imagine that Jesus's disciples in the storm-tossed boat were of necessity busy watching the waves crash onto their deck and bailing out the water. I can picture them handling the sails and trying to maintain some semblance of control over this little craft. Their focus was on surviving the moment, and their plea for help was urgently sincere. Many of us are no different in our day. Recent events around the globe and in our nations, communities, and families have buffeted us with unforeseen trials. In times of turmoil, our faith can feel stretched to the limits of our endurance and understanding. Waves of fear can distract us, causing us to forget God's goodness, thus leaving our perspective short-sighted and out of focus. Yet it is in these rough stretches of our journey that our faith can be fortified. While faith is not a perfect knowledge, it brings a deep trust in God, whose knowledge is perfect. Even in turbulent times, faith in the Lord Jesus Christ is gritty and resilient. It helps us sift through the unimportant distractions. It encourages us to keep moving along the path. Faith pushes through discouragement and allows us to face the future with resolve and squared shoulders. It prompts us to ask for rescue and relief as we pray to the Father in the name of his Son. And when prayerful pleas seem to go unanswered, our persistent faith in Jesus Christ produces patience, humility, and the ability to reverently utter the words, thy will be done. Our prophet, President Russell M. Nelson, who will deliver a short 15-minute message of hope and healing to the world on Friday at 10 a.m., and that can be seen on the web, www.churchofjesuschrist.org. And he has taught, we do not need to let our fears displace our faith. We can combat those fears by strengthening our faith in Jesus Christ. We strongly believe that our current challenges and circumstances are not our final eternal destination. As members of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, we have taken upon us the name of Jesus Christ by covenant. We have faith in his redeeming power and hope in his great precious promises. We have every reason to rejoice, for our Lord and Savior is keenly aware of our troubles, cares, and sorrows. As Jesus was with his disciples of old, he is with us today. I testify he has given his life so that you and I will not perish. We trust in him, strive to obey his commandments, and with faith hear him say, "Peace, be still." For us, that peace makes all the difference in troubled times. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you. Okay, we'll go to our next speaker, and this is Sikhism perspective.
Chief, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
He's not on a board right now, so we will skip him right now and go on to next speaker.
Okay, thank you. Okay, we'll go to Mike Boudreau and Buddhist perspective. And there are 1,200 Kadampa centers and branches in 40 countries around the world where people can study and practice the teachings of Buddha, known as Dharma. These centers are open to everyone and offer a full program of introductory classes, study programs, and meditation retreats. The Okanagan Shuswap is home to 2 branches in Vernon and Salmon Arm, with general program meditation classes every Tuesday and Wednesday evenings, respectively, from 7 to 8:30. Dharma means protection. By practicing Buddha's teachings, we protect ourselves from suffering and problems. All the problems we experience during daily life originate in ignorance, and the method of eliminating ignorance is to practice Dharma. You are most welcome to attend any of our general program classes whatever works for your busy schedule. Advanced classes and retreats are also available for further advancement in Buddhist meditation development. Welcome. So, Mr. Mike Boudreau.
Thank you, Chief Louis. It's a pleasure to be here. Can everybody hear me?
Yes.
Okay. Welcome, everyone. Most warm welcome to everyone. I'm an engineer by training, and I looked up the definition for adversity, and it's unfavorable fortune or fate. So Buddha taught about causes and conditions for everything that we experience. And so our current adversity obviously has causes and conditions in COVID news, for the most part, from a lot of us, climate change, economic uncertainty, and social unrest. And we experience distress, anxiety, and anger as a result of this. Those aren't peaceful states of mind. We all wish to be happy and free from suffering. We also wish that others could be happy and free from suffering. Those are, in Buddhist terms, wishes of love and compassion. Bonnie Henry says, be kind, be calm, be safe. So how do we do this? How do we do this physically, mentally, spiritually? Adverse conditions can be a great motivator to change old habits for new ones. And I think we're seeing a lot of that now. I see families out walking and spending time together, that they otherwise wouldn't. They'd be too busy. There's many new habits being formed during these adverse times. If we're to respond to difficult situations with a positive, peaceful mind, they would not be problems for us. We may even see them as challenges or opportunities for the growth and development of happiness for ourselves and for others. And we can help others do the same once we figure it out. Purpose of human life is to benefit others by giving mental peace to everyone every day. So how do we do this? Pretty lofty goal. Well, meditation is a scientific method to transform human nature from bad to good. Everybody needs to be good-natured with a good heart. And I'm hearing that in every speaker so far tonight. This is the real method to solve our own problems or adversity and benefit others practically. Meditation is a mind that is single-pointedly focused on a positive thought and whose function is to make the mind peaceful and calm. Although through the practice of meditation, we can develop and maintain a peaceful mind all the time. So if you check when you have a peaceful mind, you're generally fairly happy. Through the practice of meditation, we can develop and maintain a peaceful mind all the time. So if we really wish for ourselves and others to be happy all the time, we must learn to practice meditation. In meditation, we use our imagination and concentration to develop positive minds that spill into our everyday life. Basically, we develop positive mental habits. Buddha taught 84,000 meditations and said, try one. If it works, keep it and use it. If it doesn't, let it go. After all, there's 83,999 more. So I'm going to break with a pattern here and encourage us to try one. This is my favorite meditation. So if you could get yourself relaxed and comfortable in your posture, keep a straight back if you can. Rest your hands in your lap. And you can have your eyes open, closed, however you wish. Take a few deep breaths. Let any tension, mental or physical, go out with your breath. A few deep breaths, and then let your breathing relax. Relax, gentle breathing. Concentrate on the sensation of your breath as it first touches your body, your nose, or your lips. Bring your mind to the sensation of your breath, the most beneficial thing, our breath. Focus our mind on our breath. And if we have a distracting thought, we just, as soon as we realize we're distracted, we let it go and come back to our breath. Relax and focus your mind on the sensation of your breath. Now, when you're concentrating on your breath, recall a very happy, peaceful time in your life. Mentally revisit this happy, peaceful time. Feel that peace and happiness build again in your heart. Now bring to mind a friend who is suffering from the adversity of our time. This friend may be suffering from anxiety, depression, worry, anger, distress, fear, an ailment such as cancer or COVID. Maybe you share one of these adverse conditions with your friend. Bring that friend or family member to mind. And as best you can, visualize them before you. And now imagine that you draw out of them their adverse condition. You draw out of them in the form of black smoke their adverse condition. And you replace it with the happiness that you felt in your happy time. So you let the happiness flow into them in the form of white light. And you pull the adverse condition out of them in the form of black smoke. Draw their anxiety out of them. We've had a very short time to practice this, but this practice of taking and giving is based on love and compassion. Compassion to take another's suffering away from them and love to give them happiness. This is the mind of a Buddha, and we all have a Buddha seed within us. It's helpful to set an intention to take and give in this way throughout our daily life. We can do this with each breath. As we breathe in, we imagine we're drawing the suffering away. As we breathe in and as we breathe out, we share our peaceful, happy times, even if we're not experiencing them in the moment. In this way, we can be a force of positive, good, helpful friend in the world. And now when you're ready, relax your concentration and bring this meditation to a close. And I just want to share very quickly, you could learn a lot more through a free ebook called Modern Buddhism. Take a snap with your camera of the QR code there, or visit Meditation Center website, Kadampa Meditation Center in the Fraser Valley, kmcfv.ca. Thank you very much for being here. My best wishes to everyone.
Thank you. Okay, we'll go to the next speaker. We're having a spiritual living perspective. This is by the Reverend Dale Junks. Reverend Dale Jukes has 13 years at the helm of the Okanagan Center for Spiritual Living. This is simply the latest iteration of the spiritual journey that began a half a century ago under the tutelage of his parents, a journey that has embraced most ancient and traditional paths, and for the past 22 years has returned to new thought and specifically the science of mind. Dale is very happy with his present spiritual preoccupation, and fully expects to be walking this walk for the duration of his dance with the divine. If you'd like to care to join him, come to the center any Sunday and take the time to visit him at www.lightmail.org for light daily inspiration. So with that, could we hear from Reverend Dale Jukes?
Absolutely. Am I being heard properly here? Can you hear
Yes, Laura, if you could move a little closer to your mic, please.
Okay. Move my...
There you go.
There we go. Can we hear me good?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Good. I'm very happy to be here. I would like to acknowledge again, which everyone has, I think, acknowledged, Rizwan Prezida for all he's done to make this happen, and the Ahmadiyya Muslim organization, and and all the people who have shown up here who embrace an idea that there is a spirituality that is on some level common to all of us, that is a guidance in this world. I really appreciate that, and would like to just embrace this idea of religion. It's the value of religion in the world today, and in the view of Centers for Spiritual Living, these times are definite opportunity for our brand of religion, due to the simple fact that we offer tools to transform lives. And no time is as important as today. We are all aware that there is a global frenzy sweeping through every community, telling them to isolate at the potential cost of everything they need for physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual well-being. Today, more than any time in modern history, people need an anchor that they can tie onto. We provide that anchor where science, politics, and economics are only driving people further apart. Isolation is not the answer, and every person in their heart knows this is true. Realizing this without an answer is crazy making. So on a global scale, we see more and more psychological breakdown, or as an alternative, battles to distract the mind from present stresses. Today, more than ever, the whole world needs a religion. One that can provide something scientifically sustainable, some evidence that will provide the mental and emotional assurance and physical proof of the necessity of coming together in God. Any religion that cannot offer substantiated proof that their way is viable will undoubtedly continue to erode away into nothingness. Such unsustainable practices under the umbrella of all religion will erode the foundation of all world religions. Any religion that can offer such evidence will grow, and that growth will ride a wave of as people become aware that the promise it offers is viable. Today, we as religious leaders must look closely. At what it is that we are embracing and what we are offering, because what we offer, to the degree that it is viable, will make a difference. We have to determine the doctrines that we offer, and whether those doctrines are something that truly offer salvation, or whether that salvation is actually discernible. Because if that salvation proves to be helpful, then it will lead to growth. I would not be where I am today doing what I do if I did not feel at the moment that what I do is delivering that. And I know that that is true of every person here. And so I have absolutely no doubt that religion is absolutely important in this day and age, that we need to be present. We need to be present, showing by example that what we offer is the change that people need in the world. As they look at all the evidence before them on the news, they see the fears of coronavirus and the environmental instability and the political instability around them. They need to be able to look to those of us who are strong in our faith and be able to see witness that by our own living example, there is a rock that they can find, that they can hold on to. But our example absolutely must be more than what we say, more than what we speak, more than what we read. It has to go beyond the books. We have to be the living word. We have to be that word that is embodied every day. And this is really what the Centers for Spiritual Living and the Science of Mind are all about. The teaching of the science of mind has been around for 100 years now, and and has been embraced in the world, certainly in North America, and is reaching into the world in many ways. And what it teaches and what it offers consistently is the way, or a way, that we can actually make a difference in our own lives. I found the Science of Mind after looking through many religions, and I found it because it offered a way that I could make a difference in my life. I could move from poverty, from this dysfunctional relationship into a place of healthy living and joy, a place where I can interact with humanity without feeling any threat, and knowing that this power that I've realized is a power available to all of us. Some of us call it faith, some of us call it hope, some of us call it the wisdom of the ages, but for all of us, it's there, and the examples are there. And really, the only thing that is necessary to take from the world religions, all of them, is the act of living what they teach, to being a living example. When I show up with the people in my life and demonstrate to those people, just as Jesus did. Jesus demonstrated this truth. Buddha demonstrated this truth. And all of these great masters have demonstrated this truth. And the truth is that every one of us is equal to that opportunity. I don't know how long I've been speaking for, and I don't really want to speak too long, but absolutely, prayer, meditation, these are tools that are absolutely viable. They work. And if they're not working, then we need to look to those who know how to make them work, and who are living the proof of those activities, because they do work, and that's what we need to offer the world. But the tools that can allow us to be together. We don't need to be in fear of a disease that's going around. We need to be in respect and absolutely honor the people around us and their needs and if they have fears, absolutely. I wear a mask when I go out, because I know that there's somebody out there who is going to breathe just a little easier, knowing that they're not going to catch something from me. And so I'm very happy to do that. And I'm very happy to embrace someone in need when they need an embrace. Just because there's a virus going around does not mean I fear to touch another person and to allow them to feel a living heartbeat. Because right now, that's a lot of what people need, and that's what we as spiritual leaders need to be able to offer. And so that's absolutely what the Science of Mind teaches. It teaches that we step forward and be the living example. And as that living example, we be the change in the world that we would choose to see. There's nothing greater. And aligning in every way with that which is right and good, and every heart knows it. So absolutely, we do what's right and good. All of us do what's right and good. And as we do that, we change the world. And I'm happy to be in the company of peers who know this truth in their hearts. Thank you.
Thank you. And I'd like to, I guess, when we started out this discussion earlier on tonight, it was topic being religion and adversary, help or hindrance. I think we all knew the answer before when we actually started this process. And yes, religion does help, regardless of what your faith is, regardless of what your beliefs are. It is all based on in believing. And if we all believe in the better, in good, in a better world, then that's exactly what's going to become. If we don't have that faith, then that is not going to be what's going to happen. And it's so important is faith, because faith is something that's not, you can't use a slide ruler, you can't use a calculator, you can't use a computer to measure it. But yet it's one of the most powerful, it's the most powerful thing in this world is just basically that belief in faith. And I think it's really important that we all hold on to our faiths, and whatever that be, whatever we see as our practices, that's what gives us the strength that we need to carry on to each and every day. And and our faith is what we have as being a Sikh person, is the faith is ours is unwritten, but you can see the word of God every time you step out that door. No matter where you stand, you are in the house of God, and that is one thing that we all need to know. And you're beside God, sitting by a creek, as much as you are on a mountaintop, as much as you are in a crowd of people. You're all under the house of God, and that is something what we all must respect. So in the end, I think we all had the answer before we even started, that religion in adversity is help, because there's very little else that we can actually say that does. And I'd like to thank everyone for participating, but also the honor for me to sit and being able to be a moderator in the session. And I really thank everyone who had actually provided words, and to those words I take to heart. And I think that's one of the things I'd like to end with is words of thanks to Rizwan Perez of the Ahmadiyya Muslim community in BC. And I've first met Rizwan about 2 years ago, and it's been an honor to know him since. And I really appreciate his thoughts to include me into that, and into this process, and I'm thankful. And I could turn it over to Rizwan from here, and he could take us to the end. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Moderator, Chief Baron Louis, and all our respected speakers. You have done awesome job. I'm really thankful to you that year after year, you're giving your support to us, helping us to promote the dialogue. And that's very important to understand that in this world where we are flying in high tech, sometimes we need to understand the blessings are, or peace is in religion. Sometimes organized religion to be blamed a lot because they are organized. They have a system of running, so they are to challenge. Similarly, other religions, those are Buddhism, Baha'i, and other, are well-respected religion, and we hear all of them and take something good from all religion. I hope we continue this support. Sometimes we cannot satisfy everyone, but here you have provided, many faiths speaking from their perspective and saying about that, come, let's join together, let's promote the peace. If we all do together, I hope we'll be able to accomplish a lot more. And if the COVID is growing, if they have consulted much more with the faith religion, probably have found a peace also. But we faith people always think about a positive way of saying our religion, and we continue to promote this program. In the end, I would like to say also that, it's not easy to organize a virtual program. I thought virtual program, I can have a very large attendance. In fact, the one-on-one physical programs are much more successful than virtual, but virtual has their own way of doing it. For example, today on YouTube channel, we had about 237 people logged in various time, and they come and go. On a Zoom channel, we had a study 30 to 32 all the time. So altogether, 269 people came in this program. Some of them attended the whole time, some of them was partially, but regardless these number, we had very successful event. We are very thankful to all of you. We will continue to stay in touch with you. Hopefully next year, we will have a program one-on-one rather virtually. I hope this COVID will go away very soon, and we will have the normal lives. With behalf of Ahmadiyya Muslim community, British Columbia and Canada, I'm very much thankful to all of you, and they are thankful to you, my community, that you support these events and help us to build the bridges. So thank you very much. May God bless all of you. I missed the dinner part and also providing you gifts, but next year, hopefully, we will see one-on-one. So thank you, all of you. May God bless all of you. May peace be upon you. Thank you, moderator. Thank you very much. You have done a very good job. He was asking, you did actually a very good job. Thank you very much. Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay.
All right.
Love and
Thanks,
peace to
everyone.
all of you.
Okay. Well, good night, everyone.
And we thank you also, Tahir Ahmed, who's our Zoom coordinator. Did excellent job. Our youth leader had promoted the program, and he will have the report which he will share with you that number of people has taken interest on the website and on our Facebook channel. Great, thank you. That's all I want to say. And thank you again, all of you.
Good night.
Thank you.
Good night, everyone.
Councillor Molly, thank you very much for your, bye-bye.
My pleasure. My pleasure. Thank you.
Good night.
Thank you.
Thank you
Good
very
night.
much again, Rizwan.
Okay, thank
It's
you.
a very interesting evening. Thank you.
It was indeed. Thank you very much.
Yes, good.
Thanks.
Thank you, Rizwan.
Thank you, all of you. Thanks, yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.